Hello again, I'm Robert Fifth, and here we are in March of 1983 to continue this deep dive into albums from the year 1983 and going chronologically by release date, and specifically starting off this video with March 11th. The band is Helix, and the album is No Rest for the Wicked. Helix coming from Ontario, and I don't know that much about this band. I'm not experienced listening to this band at all, so this was the first Helix album I ever heard all the way through. I was familiar with a couple of their songs, including Heavy Metal Love on this one that shows up on different, like 80s metal type compilations. These guys aren't too much metal, though. They're more in just the good time hard rock vein. And yeah, this was a lot of cheesy fun. I didn't know what to expect, especially with a name like Helix. You think that they could be really metal and maybe even a little evil, or maybe they're, I don't know, maybe they're maybe they were like a pop rock band, but they are definitely a hard rock band who's just trying to have a good time, and I'm all for it. Some of it doesn't work. There's a couple of tracks on here, like the first one, Does a Fool Ever Learn? That one is kind of too serious for them. It's about domestic abuse. This woman's in this physically abusive relationship, and she's the fool, of course, because she just won't walk out of the relationship, and you must love it, being knocked down off your high heels or whatever. And it's just like, yeah, you guys really don't need to be tackling issues like that. So aside from that song, they get super fun next. The next song is kind of where the album really begins. Let's All Do It Tonight, with its sing-songy chorus, and we're all gonna party, let's have a good time, let's all do it tonight, and that kind of thing. And it's just got this constant rock rhythm, super catchy. It doesn't really ever get really over the top with the sing-songishness to where it's like annoying. It's just enough. It's just perfect. It's that perfect amount of 80s hard rock cheese, really simple lyrics, basic concepts of partying, having a good time, being in a rock and roll band. There's the title track on here, No Rest for the Wicked, about how, you're going to be in a rock band, you got to just keep on rocking. And, a lot of this is just super fun. It's the type of thing throughout, pretty much, that sounds like one of those bands from like current times that dress all in 80s clothes and sing really ridiculous songs and try to be like a cheesy 80s band, as a parody. That's what a lot of this sounds like, but these guys were the real deal. And like doing it in 1983, there's a song on here that lets you know that they grew up on the 60s rock and roll. There's a song called Dirty Dog that's all about a dance called the Dirty Dog, and it's like the peppermint twist. And I'm sure people, younger people listening, that would have no idea what the peppermint twist is or why they were. I'm sure a lot of the young metal fans that were listening to it at the time probably had no idea what the peppermint twist was or anything like that. So, yeah, Heavy Metal Love, that was the song I was talking about. The only one I knew off of here that, she's my heavy metal love. She's got the strength, and she's got, she's tough and rough, and I like her because she's, at the heavy metal love. And another song, Come Check Out My Love. I got the love, baby. Check it out. Just ridiculous, but so much fun. I'm going to give a controversial rating to this and go ahead and give this 4 stars because this album is an absolute blast. They don't seem to ever take themselves too seriously, except for on the first song that doesn't work. Does a Fool Ever Learn? And then they have sort of a power ballad on here towards the end called Never Want to Let You Go. So other than those two, this is just absolute fun. Non-stop cheesy hard rock. The band's got the chops though, and they keep that 4/4 rhythm going throughout. So I mean, everybody's dancing to it, everybody's partying, everybody's having a great time. Crank this up at your cheesy 80s party, or driving around with the top down in the summertime in your DeLorean or whatever you got, and on a cassette, of course. And just have a really good time with this. Not to be taken seriously, but just absolute fun. Helix and No Rest for the Wicked. I don't know what their other stuff sounds like, but this one's a blast. Okay, so before I go any further in this video, I just want to be honest with you, as I always try to be. When doing this big overview of 1983 albums, I'm not picking the order myself and trying to put albums around each other for a purpose or whatever. These are all in chronological order. So when that happens, I can't choose the order. There's going to be a cluster like this time where there aren't very many exciting albums to talk about. So this particular video is not going to be that great. There aren't a lot of super stellar albums that I can get all excited about. There aren't a really, truly awful albums that just really irritate me that I can go off on. It's a lot of meh, 2-star, 3-star albums with the exception of one metal album, kind of an off-the-radar thing that I found that it's really good. That's coming up. Other than that, it's a lot of, all right, okay. So, you know, maybe you don't have time to watch all my videos, all the videos in the 1983 series. If you had to skip one, this would probably be the one. Because it's not... There's a Laura Branigan review coming up, for God's sakes. So, yeah, I'm just trying to be honest with you. I appreciate you watching my videos. I respect your time. And, you know, I don't know, you know, too many YouTubers that would go off and be honest and say, yeah, this isn't going to be the best video. But again, I'm trying to keep it real all the time and just to, you know, to let you know, don't expect anything too exciting in this one. But the one coming after this one at least has Pink Floyd and ZZ Top and Zebra and Rick Springfield in it. I mean, I could be fake and try to spice it up with a bunch of phony whatever, but I don't do that. I mean, I could spice it up by showing you a photo of me at 10 years old in 1983 with a toy monkey. There's that for some liveliness. Okay, on with this one. The band Marillion. Yeah, like I said, March 14th is where we are, 1983, and they are releasing their debut album called Script for a Jester's Tear. And if that title doesn't give you a clue of exactly what this sounds like, it is sort of neo-progressive rock, as it's called. And not my favorite genre by any means, and not my favorite album of 1983 by any stretch of the imagination. This is the first time I ever heard this. I'm familiar with Marillion. They got that album that's got the kid on the front dressed like a band major or something. I don't remember what it's, something, Childhood or something. Don't like that one that much, and this one's not even that good. This album probably has its fans, as neo-progressive rock does, but it's not my thing, at all. The kind of keyboards I don't like at all are on this album. The kind of vocals that I don't like at all, on this album. The kind of songwriting that I don't like at all, on this album. The kind of musical arrangements that I don't like at all, on this album. So it's just like everything I don't like is like put together, that one band does it, and it's on this album. So I'm going to have to reluctantly give this 1 star. I'm not enraged by this album. I'm not irritated by this album. It is just absolutely 100% not for me. And I get it, there are people who will be really into this. I know people, personally, that would be really into this. It is not my thing. I mean, there's some okay kind of guitar parts, musical interludes, especially in the song Chelsea Monday, that lasts for maybe 15, 20 seconds. But that's not enough to bring it up to 2 stars. I was thinking about giving this 2 stars and giving them the benefit of the doubt because this music takes a lot of talent to play. And, you know, you got to have the musical chops to do progressive rock. But then as I'm listening to this, I'm noticing, yeah, they're not even really doing that. I mean, this isn't even like Dream Theater or something where it's like, okay, it's not my thing, but man, these guys are good. I mean, you just all over the place and stopping, you know, on a dime and changing up, and everybody is just locked in, and it's really, you know, you got to be master musicians to play this. This one, not so much. It's a lot of easy kind of basic stuff. It's just assembled in a way that makes it sound progressive. But I don't think a lot of this would be super difficult to play. I mean, I don't really play keyboards and whatever, so I really don't know. But just from listening to it, it sounds pretty basic, just kind of arranged to kind of fool you into thinking that this is, you know, super technical. That's my take on it. And yeah, I'm just going to stop talking about it now because I'm pretty much, people are already screaming, oh my God, this is the best album ever. But yeah, Marillion, Script for a Jester's Tear is absolutely not for me. On March 14th, 1983, the people were ready for more Laura Branigan. And so Branigan 2 was released. Now, of course, Laura Branigan, most popular for her song Gloria. And that song was actually a song that was popular in another country, in another language, and so they put English lyrics with it, and then she had a big hit in the US with it. Now, they tried the same thing with the first track on this album called Solitaire. that Diane Warren co-wrote. Now that was originally another song in a different language and was a hit. So I believe it was French, Solitaire, and then so they tried to rewrite, and then it became a single for Laura Branigan from Branigan 2. It's the first song on here. It's about as good as this album gets, really. It's followed up by yet another song that was originally in a different language, this time German, and it's Der Kommissar. And she does a whole different thing with it. I mean, Der Kommissar was Americanized by the band After the Fire, and they kept the original theme and just had English lyrics with it, like Falco had the original German one, and it was all about the policeman coming around, don't turn around, Der Kommissar's in town, uh-oh. She makes it deep in the dark, and it's a totally different lyric, totally different theme, totally different subject, but they keep the uh-oh, and then the music's the same. It's really strange to hear that. I didn't realize that was going to happen. It's the second track on here, and I'm just like listening to this going, what, huh? And it just made me wanted to hear Der Kommissar. But anyway, so yeah, that's on here. She's got a cover of The Who's Squeeze Box for some reason, but it actually does have an accordion in it. So there's that. Kind of sounds like kind of a Cajun Zydeco type thing. I don't know why she put that. Why would Laura Branigan do a Squeeze Box? That's on here. How Am I Supposed to Live Without You starts off side 2. That is, of course, the song that Michael Bolton co-wrote and then had a big hit on his own with it a couple of years later. She does it here. Yeah, I don't really know his version that well. I just have heard it maybe a couple of times, and I've only heard this one a couple of times, and I don't care if I ever hear either one of them again. This is basic light rock stuff. 80s light rock with a little bit of, the keyboard action going on. You got the synth drums, and she's got a good enough voice. She never gets downright gritty like she does in Gloria. You don't have to answer! She doesn't ever really do that. It doesn't have Gloria on it, is basically the problem here. There's no Gloria. So why are we listening to a Laura Branigan album without Gloria? She does have songs later on like Self-Control and The Lucky One, but that's on the next album. So those songs aren't on here either. This is just this in-between where she's going full-on adult contemporary, and there's just really not a lot to talk about here. The final track on here is called Don't Show Your Love, and it's like, just say no to love. It's like, this is when Don't Say No to Drugs. That was happening already, right, in 1983. So she's like, just say no to love. I don't know, a song on here called Mama about how she's in love with a bad boy and he makes her feel so good. And Mama, I know you warned me about the bad boys, but I can't help it. I love it. I need it. It's, like I said, light rock, adult contemporary stuff. I can see how people would like this, certain people. I mean, I think this is going to be right in some people's lane, at work, typing away, and this is over on the little radio with the flower next to it and the picture of the kids. And Laura Branigan, that is who this is for. This is not for me. I mean, I don't have anything against flowers, but it's well done for what it is. It's kind of uninteresting in some places. I'm going to give this 2 stars, and I'm going to stop talking about Branigan 2 from Laura Branigan. Shrapnel Records strikes again with another lost metal classic. Now, I was raving about the debut album from the band Wild Dogs in a previous video, and this is the same label and the same kind of sound. This is a band from Seattle, Washington called Culprit, and their debut and only album is called Guilty as Charged. Got that great basement metal sound, lo-fi going on here, very raw sounding and very fun. I'm not as pleased with the vocals on this album as I was the Wild Dogs band, but this is pretty cool too, especially the music. The guys are just riffing it up, shredding it up in certain places. The drumming has got that completely unprocessed sound that I love so much. This is just, like I said, just basement metal, very energetic, very fun stuff here. The vocals on this one though, as opposed to the Wild Dogs band, they're a little more cheesy. They're a little more kind of less of a just a kind of I'm rocking out. I'm not trying to like squeal and all that. There is a little bit of the squealing going on in here. Gets a little bit cheesy, but overall, definitely fun stuff and absolutely rocks from the first song, title track Guilty as Charged, with the dun dun dun, the kind of the police dragnet kind of marching off to the the police have caught you kind of sound. But yeah, it goes off into this whole like rock thing, and metalheads and hard rockers definitely check this out. Like I said, kind of a forgotten band. Check this out after you've checked out the Wild Dogs band. Check out their debut, and then if you love that, then you want to go to Culprit and Guilty as Charged. They got a great groove tune on here more towards the end called Fight Back. That's got a great, just kind of steady rock sound. Do a little bit of a ballad, kind of a swan song send-off with the final track on here called Players. And that one is kind of meh. There's a few kind of mehs along the way. Ambush is another song that starts off, it's about halfway through, starts off with kind of a mid-tempo thing where they're sounding like they're more in a pop metal vein, being very, kind of catchy. And then, the singer's super cheesy on that one, and then about a little less than halfway through just kicks into the hard rock stuff. So as long as these guys are doing the thrashy, up-tempo stuff, that's where their sweet spot is. When they start to slow it down and try to be a little more melodic and a little more like popish, that's when they kind of lose me a little bit, especially with the vocals. But other than that, great album all the way through. Great find. This is one of the reasons I love doing the 1983 and the year deep dives, because you find these lost classics like this, and it just makes me want to get this album. And yeah, I'm going to give this 4 stars with some reservations, just because of the vocals here and there. Probably more in a 3.5 star thing, but I'm going to go ahead and give it 4 stars because I want you to check this out. It is Culprit and Guilty as Charged on Shrapnel Records. I've got to get some more Shrapnel Records in my collection. I don't take pleasure in trashing bad albums all the time. Really, it's about 95% of the time. So this is one of the 5%. I really don't take joy in talking bad about this band. I really liked their first album, or at least a couple of songs on it, one in particular. And then they came out with their second album in March of 1983. I am talking about the band Quarterflash and Take Another Picture. I really, really like the song Find Another Fool from the first album. It's not punky, but it is spunky, and it even has a saxophone in it that I really liked at the end, especially the very end when the song just ends cold. Great ending to that song. Love that song. Harden My Heart is great as well, and there's a few other tracks on there that really do it as well. But Take Another Picture from Quarterflash, disappointment, to say the least. I know I've heard this before because I've had this for years. I've had to have listened to this, but I just don't remember anything on it except for the Take Me to Heart, the single, the first song. So I checked this out again, and yeah, it is not good. Take Me to Heart, is my third favorite of their 3 singles, and it's way down, compared to the other 2, especially Find Another Fool. That rules. Take Another Picture is a single, but I never really heard that except for on this album. It's okay. And then the rest of the album just takes a nosedive. There's this song called Eye to Eye on here that's just, it goes, some of these songs on here go full on soft rock. And not even good soft rock. Some soft rock is okay. It's got some interesting elements or whatever. Not on here. The song Eye to Eye is where the male vocalist comes in, and I didn't even bother to even look him up to see what his name is. He's not great. Yeah, you've got him doing another song on here. That's the light side. The lighter side of Quarterflash is this song called Eye to Eye with this dude. And then he pops up again on side 2 with this song called One More Round to Go, where he's trying to be a rocker. He's rocking out now. Woo! Fail. Major fail on this dude trying to rock out. You can understand why this band had 3 big songs, and they're all sung by the woman. Because the guy's not cutting it. And yeah, there's a Make It Shine song in here that's this peppy, like inspirational, you can do it kind of song. It's not great either. The whole album is not great. If you like Take Me to Heart, maybe just get a Quarterflash best of. That's really all you need. Yeah, this is always ending up in like dollar bins everywhere, whereas their first album, it's more like a $5 album, or maybe even an $8 album if it's in great condition, mint condition. Of course, by the way, mine is in near mint condition. As all albums I don't like that I have, they're always the ones that are in don't have a scuff or a fingerprint or a mark on them. and play like they are brand new. I don't know if I'll ever play this again, but this has been kept in my record collection in here, and I think this one's going to the shed. Why don't I just get rid of it? That's a great question that I do not have an answer to. But yeah, who would want this? It's like I said, it just sits around in dollar bins and nobody wants it. But their first album, people actually like that, including myself. But yeah, I cannot recommend this. This is not great. I'm going to give this 1 star just because it's got that dude on here that's like awful. Take another picture from Quarterflash. Again, they're probably nice people. They probably worked hard to put out these albums. I don't take any joy in talking bad about them like I do Styx. I will say that Quarterflash, I prefer them over Nickelback as far as bands named after U.S. Coin currency. So, I mean, there's that. Now, I did say this video wasn't too interesting with some of the albums, but there are a couple of really good ones on here, and if you've made it this far in the video, you definitely deserve to know about the band from Belgium called Acid. Acid is the name, heavy metal is the game, at least according to the lyrics of the very first song on here. Their debut album, self-titled, was either released in January of this year or March. I've seen conflicting reports on that. Never released in the United States, first released in France because, again, they are from Belgium. So, yeah, actually a reissue of this was just released earlier this year, so it's a lot easier to find now. But yeah, the band is called Acid, and wow, this is great. I think that the January release date might be a little more accurate because they actually have another album coming out in 1983 called Maniac, which I will definitely be getting to when that time arises. But first, let's talk about this one. Very first song on here is called Acid. Like I said, Acid is the name, heavy metal is the game. And yeah, it's great. You know, of course, it's one of those Bad Company things where the song is called Acid from the band Acid from the album Acid. But this sounds like, it doesn't really sound like 80s heavy metal with squealing guitars and screaming, you know, high-pitched male vocals. In fact, the vocalist is female. Her name is Kate. And she has more of a late 60s, early 70s kind of scream to her vocals. She kind of sounds like one of those hippie chicks from like the Coven album or something like that. So this actually sounds more like an early 70s version of heavy metal. Got a little bit of Motorhead action going on in here as well. So yeah, the music kind of, it just has this raw sound. It does not sound like 1983. There's no embellishments. This sounds like somebody plugged it in, hit the faders up and, you know, mixed it really well. Sounds really professional, but there's not a lot of like polish on this or definitely no effects or anything like that. The guitar tone is great. A lot of easygoing riffs. You know, the kind of stuff that you could pick up a guitar and learn how to play relatively easy, but it still sounds great. A lot of the songs on here have names like Demon and Satan and, you know, Heaven's Devils as opposed to Hell's Angels, because it does sound like more like Motorcycle Club music than it does, like I said, satanic thrash metal. So I think they do go more in a thrash from what I've read. They do go more in a thrash arena later on with the later albums. Cannot wait to hear the next one because this one was super fun. I'm giving this 5 stars. I'm glad I discovered this. Acid, great cover art there. Great different sound for the vocalists. You know, you get a lot of this 80s stuff where they're all trying to imitate each other. But number one, since this has a female vocalist, there's a difference. But also, aside from that, she sounds a little different from all the other metal kind of female vocalists that were coming out around this time. She kind of has more of like a mix between, like I said, the early 70s kind of hard rock screaming thing and then like a Riot Girl from the early 90s. So it's just great. I mean, there's just the right amount of cheese on here. Some of this is kind of silly. You know, I gave you the example of the lyric there. A lot of it is like that. You know, the Ghost Riders, you know, they do have that, like I said, Motorcycle Club kind of effort going on here. So, yeah, just the right amount of cheese, just the right amount of, like, easy guitar riff, but they're great guitar riffs. I think they got a double bass thing going on from what I can hear. A little bit of Motorhead, a little bit of the, you know, and it just all blends together to make a really fun album that you can just crank up and just, like, not even worry about it. Fly down the road, hopefully on your bike, your motor, but not your Schwinn, and just have a lot of fun with this. And I definitely am checking out the next one coming up later on this year. This one, though, self-titled Acid from 1983, it is 5 stars for me. The Power and the Glory was the Saxon album that was released in March of 1983, and it starts off with the track, The Power and the Glory. Sometimes that's how it works. This song is a wild way to start off an album. It's all about this, this soldier that he doesn't care. He just wants to shoot people, and he's ready, man. He's ready. Whatever the general says, just tell me which way to point my gun, and there I go. Can't wait. I know that people are dying all around. I got my buddies dying. That's cool. The general's gonna kill 1,000 more. It's all right. Mine is not the reason why. Mine is just to do or die. And I don't know if this is like a sarcastic anti-war song, or if this guy just really is into it and, just kind of like, I just want to shoot my gun and take on the enemy. Just let me know who the enemy is, type of thing. So it's, not quite sure where they're coming from on that one, but that actually kicks off the album. They have another song on here called Warrior, where it's like, warrior sees, warrior conquer, what is it? Warrior came, warrior saw, warrior conquered, because we came, we saw, we conquered. So there's that on here as well. So a lot of those kind of themes going on here. But, you also got some other things in here as well. You got a song that is tailor-made for the stadium to get everybody fist pumping and row, called This Town Rocks. That is actually the title of a song on here. This Town Rocks starts off with this really intense, like almost thrash metal kind of sound. I'm like, okay. And then that evens out. And then it's like, this town rocks. You guys are great. Yay. Woo. And that it's just, they're just, they can't wait to go out on the road with that one. And just, just kind of pander to every city they're playing for. Hey, this town rocks. Like those bands do. When they'll get in between songs, they're like, hey man, I heard Boston is the best rock and roll city in the world. Yeah, you guys are proving it tonight. Yeah, I heard that Tulsa was the best rock and roll city in the world. Yeah, you guys sound like it, man. All right. Hey, we've been all over the world and nobody rocks like Wichita. That kind of thing. These guys have got that, not only just concert announcements, but an actual song. This town rocks. So, it's a little pandering, to say the least. There are some rockers on here. Watching the Sky, that's pretty intense. Like that one. Red Line is okay. That's the one about the car. Got to have a car song on there. They deliver that. And so there's some nice tunes on here. There's some like mid-level stuff on here. Nightmare is okay. And then there's a track on here that is replaced by a track that was on the UK one. Called Midas Touch. That's on the UK one. Instead of that one, you get Susie Hold On, which that's the third song on here. That was on Wheels of Steel in the UK. So that song comes on, great, it's a nice rocker, but it sounds a little out of place. The production's totally different on it, which it's actually better. I definitely prefer the Wheels of Steel album and the way that sounds. The whole album here, with the exception of course, Susie Hold On, sounds a little, I don't know, the music is a little muted, it's a little even, throughout, and then the vocals are kind of above it, like not really mixed in, like not connecting. So I don't really care for the sound of the album a lot. It's okay, it's not anything horrible or anything, it's just they have better sounding albums. So it's one of those times where I'll be saying this a few times in this video series. Saxon's got a lot of albums. You never heard Saxon, you want to start with something like Wheels of Steel. You don't necessarily want to start probably with Power and the Glory, but it's an okay album. It's got its hits, it's got its misses. Overall, I'll give it 3 stars. At this point, Lou Reed has been coming out with a steady stream of albums, and on March 16th, 1983, he released the album Legendary Hearts. At this point, it's another Lou Reed album. It has its fans, critics especially, giving this thing 5 out of 5 stars and 9 out of 10 ratings and whatever. For me, I just thought it was just kind of there. A much bigger fan of some of his other albums. Obviously, Transformer is my favorite, a lot of other people's favorite as well. I like Berlin. I like his comeback sort of album that he had after this, where people really start to pay attention again, called New York. I thought that was pretty cool. I mean, he really lets it, you know, his opinions known on that one. And we're back to angry Lou Reed. That's the thing here. He's in love when this is being recorded. So it's the lighter side of Lou Reed, the kind of relaxed Lou Reed. And I don't want relaxed Lou Reed. I want angry, you know, confrontational, biting Lou Reed. I don't get anything out of relaxed Lou Reed because he doesn't have the greatest voice. It's not like he's singing these wonderful notes and oh my God, he's got a golden throat that just, oh my, it's like a beautiful, I mean, he just basically talks his way through songs. So the talking should at least be interesting. And here it's really not. There are different themes going on. It isn't the same thing over and over again, and it certainly isn't basic love songs or whatever. So there are little interesting passages here and there. He is certainly more a poet than he is some big singer or whatever. But here it's not quite as interesting. Like I said, he's content, he's relaxed, which it's nice to hear Lou Reed in a different kind of thing like that. But the album before this had the same kind of feel to it, but it was just much better material. And so this one sounds like maybe it's just some unused stuff from that album or some outtakes. So I would definitely suggest the one that happens before this, which the name I can't think of. It's got the word blue in the title. Anyway, so yeah, Lou Reed and Legendary Hearts. I will give it 2 stars, I guess. You know, there's better Lou Reed albums out there. At least even Metal Machine music is at least more intriguing. Like, how in the hell did this get made and why is it released in quad? But, you know, this one is just kind of sits there. You know, it's just kind of like, okay, well, that was Lou Reed and now it's over. And now I'm going to go listen to something else. So, you know, 2 stars for Legendary Hearts from Lou Reed. You know, the one where at the very end where he's sitting on in a rooftop garden with his loved one and they're watching an airplane go by, you know. I get it. It's, you know, he's in love, he's relaxed, he's got his own take on things, but it's just not that interesting to me. And the vocals on this sound kind of like he's just winging it half the time and just kind of did one take and went, nah, good enough. And the music isn't really that interesting either. It's just basically just kind of, you know, it's like a beat poet who's up there talking and his music is just very minimalist behind him. And at this point, he's already done things that are more interesting, so you can't really go back. But he did. So yeah, Lou Reed Legendary Hearts is a 2-star, maybe 2.5-star album for me. And finally, at the tail end of March, Van Morrison released an album called Inarticulate Speech of the Heart, and I don't care. This video has already been lackluster enough. I certainly am not going to start talking about Van Morrison. It's Van Morrison. How good can this album be? I didn't even bother with it. So we're moving on. And we will be moving on to the next video with hopefully a more interesting video because you have albums from ZZ Top, Pink Floyd, Zebra, Rick Springfield, and more. Thank you so much for trudging through this one. Sorry it wasn't more interesting, but that's what happens when you do things chronologically. Again, I apologize, but at least I was honest about it up front. Anyway, thank you so much for watching this, and please continue the journey, the long journey through 1983 with me, chronologically reviewing and rating these albums. I'm Robert Fitton, and hopefully I will talk to you again soon.